Hi everyone, welcome to this week's video. Last week I started a new video series looking at growing cut flowers from seed, and it's been really amazing to see what has happened just in the last several days from starting those seeds off. So I wanted to go back today and show you that. And I've also, during the course of the week, just started a few more perennial seeds as well, just so that we've got a wide range of cut flowers to look at later in the year. So if you come along with me just now, we'll go and have a look at the heated propagating bench and see what's happened with those seeds sown. So this is our Aquilegia cerise queen that we sowed 12 days ago now as part of that perennial video, and they're doing really well. They're still very small, so not at the stage of breaking out just yet. I'll let them get a little bit bigger, but they're doing fantastically and lots of germination there. This is the Aquilegia sneezewort that we started, and again getting some germination there, not quite as much as the Aquilegia cerise queen, but a little bit of germination so far. And same with the Aquilegia the pearl as well. We've got some germination, but I would be expecting a little bit more. So maybe just more variable there with those varieties, that you'll get some germinating quite quickly, but you might need to wait a little bit longer for other seeds. Nothing yet happening with the echinacea, so no germination there so far. So 12 days ago, on the 3rd of March, we sowed our perennial Gypsophila baby's breath, and again you can see here that we've got some really good germination there. Lots and lots coming through. We'll let them grow on a bit bigger before potting them on, but really good germination rates and really quick there as well. No germination yet with the Astrantia, so that's 12 days ago that we started the Astrantia, but again that would be very early. I wouldn't be expecting to see any germination there yet. No germination with our Rudbeckia cherry brandy either. Again, early days. It takes a wee while for Rudbeckia to get germinating. However, we have got some germination with our Orangium. So this is our Orangium silver glitter that was sown 12 days ago on the 3rd of March. And look, it's germinating, so that's fantastic. So again, another early one to germinate for us. Not seen any germination with our Verbena yet, and also nothing with our Helenium. So we'll keep an eye on those. And no germination yet with the Eucalyptus either. So one of the seeds that I started off last week was Lady's Mantle, Aquilegia mollis, and I've started that one because I really love that as a filler in the garden. Its lovely little green, limey green flowers are perfect in bouquets in July. So I'm going to start that off from seed, and it's a fantastic perennial. It's very hardy, very tough in Scotland, will come back year after year, no bother at all. So I got a question about growing Lady's Mantle from seed, and I thought it would be a good part of this perennial series to grow along with me trying that as well. So let's go and have a look at those little seeds just now and see how I got on last week starting that off. So these are the Aquilegia mollis seeds, Lady's Mantle ones, and they're really quite tiny. So the aim here is going to be to try and space them out quite thinly, as thinly as we can, on our moist seed compost. So I filled my half seed tray with seed compost, and then I have just let the water soak in from underneath. I've popped it in a full seed tray to soak in, and I always water my seed trays before I sow my seeds, because if I water from overhead after I've sown them, then you can dislodge them and they can all end up in one area and germinating in a patch, or they just get washed away and they don't germinate very well. So I always water first. So let's see if we can sow these onto our seed tray and just see if we can spread them out as thinly as we can. These are going to take about 2 to 3 weeks to germinate. I'm going to put them on the heated propagating bench, about 18 degrees. And then once they've germinated, we'll let them grow on a little bit in the seed tray. And once they start developing their true leaves, we'll get them potted on and grown on cooler in the greenhouse. And we'll be aiming to plant them out around the time that the frosts end, kind of end of May, in the garden, to establish themselves as good plants. So the Lady's Mantle seeds, like just a thin layer of compost over them there, or you can use a thin layer of vermiculite, whatever you've got to hand. I've got some seed compost today. Don't want to bury them too much because they're just tiny seeds. And I'm going to press down with the back of my hand just so that those little seeds come into contact with that nice moist compost. Then we'll get a label on these and pop them on the heated propagating bench with a humidity dome over the top of them, and then we'll leave them for a couple of weeks and see how we get on. We'll check back on them later. So 6 days ago I started the lady's mantle, so I haven't seen any germination there yet, but that's still very early days. We'll check back on that one. These scabious perennial ones are absolutely fabulous in your garden. I really love them, and I wish I had more of them. So this year I'm going to try sowing a few more from seeds. I've got a couple of established plants in the garden, but like I said, you just can't have too many of these flowering stems to enjoy either in a vase or just in your gardens to look at. So let's try sowing some of these seeds. If we're lucky and we've got them going early enough, we might get flowers in our first year. Otherwise, we'll look forward to them next year. So these are really easy to sow. You just need some nice moist seed compost. So we've got that ready here, and we'll just get the seeds out. These are lovely large seeds, so they're really easy to handle when we're spreading them out on our seed tray. So I'm splitting my seed tray up, and I'm going to have white on the left hand side, and I'm going to have some blue on the right hand side. And then I'm just going to label them up so I know which is which. It's nice when you've got bigger seeds to work with because it does make it much easier to spread out. And then they can grow on quite happily in your seed tray once they've germinated, not competing with each other until you're ready to pot them on. So these are just going to need a light sprinkling of compost or vermiculite if you've got it. So we're just going to cover these with a little bit of seed compost. Again, not too thickly, just enough to cover. And again, it can be vermiculite if you choose to have that. I'm just going to press down again, nice and lightly there, and we'll pop a humidity dome over the top of it. These ones like to be a little bit warmer, so 20 to 25 degrees Celsius for germination, but I think in the centre of my heated propagating bench, that's the temperature there will be. Another good place to pop them in the house is on the underfloor heating as well, because it's quite warm at this time of year because it's on quite a bit. So 6 days ago, I started some perennial scabious. Scabiosa perfecta blue and alba. So we've got some blue and white ones growing, and I've got germination just starting to happen today from both of them. So that's really fast germination there for a perennial. So we're just going to spread these out finely on our seed compost that's nice and moist, and then we're going to cover them over with some seed compost, just a thin layer. Pop the humidity dome on, and then these are going to germinate at a temperature of about 20 to 25 degrees. And again, these should germinate pretty quickly for me. I've done them before and they haven't been too tricky. So we'll see in a couple of weeks whether we've got any through. Seeds of the linaria are quite fine, so we have to be quite careful spreading them out. See if we can get it as thin as possible. So I'm just going to evenly distribute those over the compost, as evenly as I can. And they're just small seeds, so we don't want to bury them, just a very thin layer of compost or vermiculite over the top. So I'm just covering those linaria up very finely, just a thin layer over them. And then again, I press down with the back of the hand. And then the humidity dome over the top. And we'll catch up with those in a couple of weeks. So this is another one that I like to grow from seed. It's Aquilegia. This is white barlow variety, but I've got a few different ones that I'm going to pop on today. One includes Rose Queen, and then we've got a mixed barlow variety as well. So we're going to sow these and see how we get on with them. These like to germinate, so I'm just going to put a very thin covering of vermiculite over the top. These seeds aren't too small, so they're quite easy to spread out. It's not so easy to show you them here because again, they're quite dark seeds, so they're not showing up too well against the seed compost. But very easy to spread out, and we'll just get that thin layer of vermiculite on them just now. We'll just pop some vermiculite, just a very thin layer so that we're not excluding light, over the top of these Aquilegia. tiny bit over there, and then just going to press down over them and get them labelled up as well and under the humidity dome. 6 days ago as well, I started Linaria Canon Went and some Aquilegia, but I haven't had any germination with them yet. So we'll come back to those and see how long it does take them. So what we found out so far from our perennial seed sowing is that the Aquilegia is a fast germinator. So not only the cerise queen, but we also did get germination of the sneezewort and pearl varieties. We got some good germination of our Gypsophila baby's breath and our Eryngium, and also our Scabious perfecta was starting to germinate really quickly after 6 days as well. So those are the ones that are germinating most easily for us, and other things like our Astrantia and our Aquilegia and things we're going to have to check back on and see how they're doing in a few weeks' time. And we may well have to cold stratify some of them. So things like the Echinacea and the Astrantia, we may have to take off that heated propagating bench, give them a period of cold stratification before reintroducing them to the warmth. So here's just a quick reminder of some of the perennial cut flower seeds that I have been growing this week. So to join the others, we have got Aquilegia vulgaris, and the varieties that I've been growing are white barlow, and I also had a seed packet of mixed barlow too for some different colours. And then we've got the Linaria purpurea Canon Went, and this is also known as toadflax, and the variety I was growing was a purple one, but I've grown pink ones before as well, which are really pretty. And then we've got Scabious perfecta, and I'm going to have two colours here. I'm going to have the white alba ones and the blue variety as well. And then we've got the Alchemilla mollis, the lady's mantle seeds, which hopefully will give us lots of beautiful lime green filler flowers in July for our bouquets. So thanks so much for tuning in again this week, having a look at those perennial seeds and how they're getting on. I think that's probably the full amount that I'm going to get started for just now. Might start a few more off in the autumn because that's another good time to start seeds. So we'll have a look later down the line at that. But for now, we're just going to follow along the seeds that we've got going. Might need to leave it a couple of weeks now just to see how they get on and then revisit it. So we're going to just go off and concentrate more on the annuals just now on the videos, and we will check back on those perennials in a few weeks' time.